so loud.
Good morning to you, Cupid.
Well, good morning to you. She just mooed at us. She's looking for her calf who's in the barn. This is day 2 of grafting this little Holstein calf onto Mama Cow. I mean, it's going pretty well. I don't know, I don't think she's really accepted him yet. Like, we have not seen him nurse in the pasture. But let's see if she butts him away this morning. Your calf's coming. He's looking empty, I can tell, because the triangle where his rumen is hollow. Oh, there she goes. She was butting him away. He doesn't have a collar. Watch out, it gets tricky to walk it. Is that yummy? Are you doing it all by yourself? That's not where the tea is. Well, he is getting his belly full, huh?
I saw him get it first, and I was saying he's trying to get some himself.
That's some good stuff. Good job. The update is that he is getting on Alice by himself. His poop looked a lot better yesterday afternoon. And he seems to be frolicking. He seems to have good energy. He's obviously happy with his little tail wagging. So he's looking good. She still has not accepted him. Kind of butts him away. If she doesn't take him though, I don't know if we can keep him, but we're gonna try.
And, we're milking right now.
We're hoping that once he smells more like her, after 3 or 4 days of drinking her milk and he gets his old smell out of him and off of him and takes on the smell of our farm and her milk, that she'll be more willing to accept him. And it could just be that over time she'll see, like, I'm gonna have to milk this calf, so I'm gonna take him. And we kind of expected these obstacles because we knew that even though we put a calf on her last year, that calf came from her herd. And she knew that calf. That calf smelled just like her, or at least like her herd, maybe not her specifically. The main thing we're concerned about is his health, though. And so far his health is looking good. I talked to the dairy this morning. They called asking about him. And we're just giving me a few tips. So it's nice that we have resources to reach out to, that we can actually talk to, not just Facebook groups and family cow boards, but actual people that are helping us navigate this. And we could probably do it without them, but I'm glad we don't have to.
Waddle. Or weapons. Waddle.
Is the fence off? Trying to be a piggy.
Is he done?
Yeah, come back here and look at the difference. He got it more empty than we ever got it.
Look at the side he emptied. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because this is the center line right here that goes like that off to the right.
I'd like to see him poop this morning. You know how it is when you have a new baby.
Guys.
All you care about is eating, drinking, pooping.
Bree's taking on milking this morning by herself because there's only half a cow to milk.
2 teats, 2 hands. Kitty, 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 kitty. Thank you for being such a good kitty.
We're going to the garden for 1 hour. There's 3 jobs you can pick from. 2 of them are pulling weeds.
Do we to go flying?
Hey, look at me, I want to steal.
Do we to go? Ah! Where's that milk? One. La la coo 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 coo.
Hey, look at this baby.
You little fat monster.
How's it going up here?
We're just picking beans slow and steady.
Just a ton of beans.
So many beans. Leahy is picking very quickly though, which is awesome.
Oh, am I? Okay, awesome.
Well, when I have the kids and I'm showing them and they're asking me questions and they're stopping me to show me something, you know,
God.
I'm going very slowly.
I can go faster than you.
See, look, here comes another thing to show me. Let me see. Beautiful. You want to let it free now?
Wow, that's so
Butterfly.
pretty.
And let it
I
free.
wanna
No, that
hold it.
hold its wings straight up, remember? Okay.
Let me hold it. I want to hold it, Baba.
No.
Whoa!
We may have taken on too much this morning. We're doing several jobs. We're doing some harvesting. I'm harvesting a bunch of kale here. And then we're trying to turn over these 2 beds, moving towards our winter garden because we want to plant our winter garden in about 2 weeks. We're also finishing picking beans, pruning tomatoes, and harvesting basil. So it's just a bunch. And there's literally hundreds of pounds in here that need to be harvested, mostly the cabbage. But we're holding off on the cabbage till we're set up to make sauerkraut. We'll probably have a whole day of just picking cabbage, making sauerkraut. It might actually be 2 sauerkraut days. We might need to turn that into a class for our friends. Anyway, we may do that. Just an impromptu little workshop. People come, bring home a jar of sauerkraut, and help us chop it all and process it all. I may tear this whole bed out. I might leave it. Man, there's just so much good kale here though. And I think it'll grow another batch of good leaves.
Look at this jungle of tomatoes. There's so much productivity on it that I want to get it tied up. Please don't touch those leaves because they have blight on them, and then you're going to touch other things in the garden.
Blight?
I think I already threw the super blighty ones over.
It's time to finish Justice's garden cycle and dig up his potatoes. There's just a couple plants. It'll just take a few minutes. It won't take long. This soil wasn't very deep. And that was the problem we had down below too, and why we only got 200 pounds and didn't get like 500 pounds.
I think I'll be having corn sooner than you.
We keep finding them, huh?
You may not do pesto when everyone's sleeping because it's so loud. Nice. You grew those. You want to go weigh them and see how much?
This lettuce bed, now you could technically eat it. There's a ton of lettuce in here, but it's extremely bitter, like a dandelion if you've ever had a dandelion. So it's not really worth eating. That's just what happens in mid-summer and when the weather gets hot. So we're going to tear out this whole bed and then replant it, probably in greens for this fall. Right now though, I'm just tearing it out and piling it like this big berm of greenery right on top of the bed itself.
Squash, basil, tomatoes, potatoes, kale. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I just got this one bed done.
Perfect.
But it didn't take long though.
Yeah, I need to do tomatoes this evening. I think just after you're done editing, we're gonna have pesto pasta and squash for dinner. That's easy.
Okay.
So we can definitely work in the garden this evening. Woo!
It's a ton. It's gonna be, it's already hundreds of pounds.
All hands on deck. But yeah, it's hundreds of pounds already. Yeah, it is already hundreds of pounds. It's kind of amazing when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I hadn't considered that.
We haven't hit 100 pounds of beans yet.
We will today. We have. We've hit it today.
Yeah, it's a ton though.
So, 200 pounds of potatoes, who knows, countless, a few hundred pounds of onions, 100 pounds of beans. The rest is kind of hard to measure by pounds because it doesn't weigh much.
Yeah.
So the tomatoes. Like basil. That's probably like 2 pounds.
The riches of basil isn't measured by the pound.
No. But by the power of the perfume. Does that work?
We gotta pack all this stuff from the garden into this fridge. If you leave stuff out on a hot day like this, it just will not last as long. So getting it straight into the fridge is really critical in being able to keep your garden food for days to a week in the fridge.
Yesterday I picked a couple of gallons of blueberries. I'm hoping to go picking them this evening, but it will all depend on how much I get done this afternoon.
Nice job. This is fun.
Yep.
This is kind of the rush busy part of the year. We're just getting a ton of abundance from the garden and now from the cow actually at the same time, kind of ironically.
I think that's definitely one really great reason to have your calf in spring. We'll eventually be on that schedule. We're not there yet. Because you've got that under control before you've got to deal with all of this.
Grace does the chickens. Sometimes she brings the goats in and puts them out.
Okay, today we are making dilly beans. They don't have a dilly bean recipe in this book, but they have a dill pickle with cucumbers recipe in this book, so I'm using that one. We make dilly beans every year. They usually turn out really great. Also, my friend Leahy is here helping me today. She's actually going to be coming twice a week to help me, which I'm really thankful for because this time of year is just crazy and I needed some help. I really think that if you need help and you're able to get it, go get it. I think for so many years I've tried to do everything on my own and not ask for help, and I am learning to ask for help. Yeah, so I'm thankful. She's helped pick all these beans. Now she's cleaning them for me while I'm getting all the fermenting stuff ready. It's really neat because she doesn't homestead or farm, but she's excited to learn, so this is kind of a win-win for both of us. I just think it's really important for us to be honest, especially in this department, of how much we actually accomplish ourselves and how much we need to call in help for, because it gives you guys a more realistic understanding of what it takes to run a small farm. So right now during this really busy season, and I'm about to start homeschooling, and I just have some other things that I'm having to do right now, I need some help, and Arthur can't give that to me because we've changed our editing schedule, which has been life-changing for us in just the 3 days we've done it. So he needs to have this time when I'm putting things up and doing other projects. He needs to have this time to not be helping me and to be editing. I was going to start with sticking these grape leaves in the bottom of the jars. They have tannins in them, which will help keep everything nice and crunchy. I'm doing quarts, so I'm just going to stuff these beans. I'm going to try to get them in there real nice and straight. Arthur is so much better at this than me. I am very impatient when it comes to stuff like this. The beans down in there pretty tight.
What you doing? Making dilly beans?
Ooh, making dilly beans. I'm whooped. It is 5:15, so I really need to be making dinner. I'm going to finish these dilly beans. I've got 12 quarts, and I would do more, but I'm just running out of time, so I'll have to do it in the next round of beans. I've got all these to put up and another part of a basket over there to put up. Okay, so these dilly beans are fermented. They won't be canned, and the difference is that canning, you're going to use a vinegar brine, and then you're going to seal the jars. That's going to keep them good. What we're actually doing is fermenting, and fermenting is different. Fermenting is where you add salt water, and what that does is there's actually natural bacteria on the food, lactobacillus, and it preserves the food, and not just preserves it, but is also super healthy for you to eat. It's just like sauerkraut. Sauerkraut, not from the store, that's been canned. All the good stuff has been killed, but sauerkraut that's not been canned and just been fermented and stored is so good for you. Regular canned goods are basically sterile. I mean, that's the environment you're looking for so as to not grow bacteria, specifically bad bacteria. But fermented veggies and foods are full of beneficial organisms. I always wondered, how did people preserve certain types of food before there was canning? Before there were canning jars, before there were canning lids. I mean, you have to replace the lids every season. Fermenting is the way people historically preserved food for the winter and for, long stretches of time. This is something you can learn now if you don't have a homestead. You can learn the art of fermenting. You can learn the art of canning, the science of canning. You do not have to have a homestead to do this or a ton of space.
We've got that big pile of beans that Bree and I need to put up this evening. So the kids and I are going to knock out the chores while she cooks supper, and then we're going to knock that out after they go to bed. Justice is preparing a feast for the pigs. Some leftover food and some pig food. We got to get this cow into the barn and her calves. What are y'all doing in here? Come on, get up. Come on, let's go. We're letting the Holstein calf get his fill of milk because, as far as I can tell, Alice is still not letting him nurse in the pasture. Good job. This pig has an injury on his ear. You can see it on his right ear on that left-hand pig. I was looking around in here thinking, what could he have injured it on? And then I looked back at my pig shelter, and I don't know how this happened, but there's a nail sticking out of it. So I brought a hammer, so while they're distracted by their feed, I'm gonna pull that nail out. Pigs will scratch their itches to the point of personal injury. Sometimes that should fix that problem, because I don't think there's anything else in here sharp enough to hurt them like that. If they move it at all, it means that they're pretty much out, because if it's light enough to lift, you should get them more. We'll get new water for the cow while we're at it. Throw this hose in the pig barrel and let that fill up. It looks like he's done nursing, so we'll kick the cows out of the barn. Thank you for all you do, Miss Alice. He looks nice and full. Come on, let's go. Watch. Look at how she treats him. She's facing him like he's a threat. She's coming at him. Not very friendly. Not super aggressive. Cock-a-doodle-doodle-doo. Grace is bringing in the goats. One of the last things we do every evening. They've been grazing all day out in the edge of the woods. And she's separating them because she's actually starting to milk the goats on her own, because we're milking the cow now. Foggy when a courtin' and heated dry, drink them mighty bitch Cambo. Sword and pistol by his side, drink them mighty bitch Cambo. Cabanero down to Cairo, Cabanero, Cairo. Straddle-a-lattle-ba, link them mighty bitch Cambo. He rode right down to Miss Mousie's door, rink them mighty bitch Cambo, where he'd often been before, rink them mighty bitch Cambo. Cabanero down to Cairo, Cabanero, Cairo. Straddle-a-lattle-ba, rink them mighty bitch Cambo. Uncle Rat laughed and shook his fat side, drank them mighty bitch Cambo, to think his niece would be a bride, drink them mighty bitch Cambo. Cabanero down to Cairo, Cabanero, Cairo. Straddle-a-lattle-ba, link them mighty bitch Cambo. Where shall the wedding supper be? Ring them mighty bitch Cambo. Way down yonder in the holler tree. Ring them mighty bitch Cambo. It's bean time, guys. What time is it? It's 9 o'clock. We got about an hour here before we go to bed.
The way I prepare them is I make the longest, tenderest ones, or the tenderest ones, I just put whole into freezer bags for sauteing. I make most of them into about thirds for just regular cooking, and then I do really short pieces for soups. So like this one would be like 4 or 5 breaks, really small for soups. So that's how I do mine. It's really sweet and simple. I've just learned over the years that's the 3 ways we like to eat them. So that's the 3 ways I freeze them. Oh, and I make dilly beans. That's the 4 ways I make them. Beans, beans, good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you, the better you feel. So eat your beans at every meal.
What's a skill you have that I don't?
What?
Making rhymes.
I didn't make that one up. That's from public school, honey.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow's video. Hopefully I'll get it out tomorrow.
Oh, right.
I'll have to edit tomorrow night because I'll be at the hollers.
Maybe I'll edit, but I'll have so much food to put up tomorrow night. Well, we'll both be working, but we'll have the weekend off.
Yeah.
That's a new thing. We've never had a weekend off before.